Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're a PSC Codex user, you know the drill. You spend so much time recreating similar quotes over and over again. Well, today we're going to check out a powerful and completely free add-on that's designed to fix that exact problem. It lets you turn your best work into a reusable library, which is going to save you a ton of time and keep everything consistent across your whole team.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about that repetitive work I just mentioned. Then we'll dive into the solution, this new reusable library. I'll walk you through the super quick one-time setup, show you the simple three-step workflow, talk about how to get things approved, and we'll wrap up with some pro tips to make sure you get off to a great start.
All right, let's just dive right in. Let's talk about the daily grind of quoting, and specifically, one of the most tedious parts of the job, building out those scopes.
Does this sound familiar to you? You've just spent all this time building out a perfect, super detailed scope for a really complex project, and then the very next day you get a similar request and you have to do it all over again from scratch. That feeling of déjà vu? Yeah, that's exactly what we're here to solve.
And this isn't just some minor annoyance, it's a real drain on your efficiency. You're wasting valuable time, it's creating inconsistencies from one quote to the next, and let's be honest, it makes it almost impossible to maintain a high standard of quality when your absolute best work is buried in some quote from 6 months ago.
But what if you could capture that one perfect scope and just reuse it with a single click? Well, that is exactly what this new add-on does. So let's talk about the solution, the Promote Scope as Library feature.
And let's get maybe the most important detail out of the way right now. This is not some paid upgrade you have to budget for. The Promote Scope feature is a completely free enhancement for all active PSC Codex subscribers. It just adds these powerful new capabilities to the tool you're already using every day.
So what is it exactly? Well, to put it simply, it's a feature that lets you take the scopes you build inside any service quote and save them to a central, organized library. You can think of it like creating your own greatest hits collection of scopes, all ready to be deployed anytime you need them.
The power here really comes from three key ideas. First, you can create a library instantly, right from any existing quote. Second, there's a built-in draft status for quality control, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. And third, the whole thing is designed for one purpose, helping you efficiently reuse your best work, plain and simple.
Now you might be thinking that a feature this useful must require a really complex setup, right? But that's just not the case here. Let's walk through the simple one-time configuration that'll get you up and running in just a few minutes.
Before you start, there are just 2 quick things to check off your list. First, you need to make sure your PSC Codex is version 1.75 or higher, and second, you just need an active license. If you've got those 2 things, you are good to go.
The actual setup is just 2 simple steps inside Salesforce Setup. First, you're going to find the custom metadata type called PSC Additional Scopes tab. Then you'll just click Manage Records and create one new record. That is it. Let's take a quick look at what you'll need to enter.
Okay, I know this might look a little technical, but don't worry about it. You're literally just copying and pasting these values into the fields. All this is doing is telling Codex, hey, add a new tab, call it this, and launch this feature when someone clicks it. You just fill this out once and the setup is done, forever.
Okay, so with that quick one-time setup out of the way, let's get to the fun part, your new, super streamlined day-to-day workflow. This is how you're actually going to build your library.
Using this feature really just boils down to a simple 3-step process. First, find a quote that has some great scopes you want to reuse, go to the new Promote as Library tab, and name your new collection. Second, select the specific scopes you want to include. And third, you just click Save. It's that easy. Name, select, save.
Now remember how I mentioned that draft status earlier? This is a really crucial feature. It's not just another step. It's all about making sure your library is only filled with high-quality, approved content.
And this is so important. Every single library you create automatically starts in draft status. Think of this as a safety net. It makes sure that a new collection isn't available to the whole team until it's been properly checked out. It prevents any incomplete or unapproved scopes from being used by mistake.
This is where the teamwork really comes in. The whole process encourages you to share this draft library with your subject matter experts, your SMEs. They can review the scopes, make sure everything is accurate and up to standard, and then give it their official stamp of approval. It's basically a built-in peer review process.
And once your SMEs have reviewed and approved it, the library status changes to active. Now, and only now, it becomes a permanent reusable asset that is available for your entire team to pull from when they're building future quotes. Quality and consistency all locked in.
So you're now pretty much ready to start building your own library. but before we wrap up, let's go over just a few pro tips to make sure you're creating a truly best-in-class resource for your team.
To really get the most out of this, you want to follow 2 key practices. First, be selective. Curate your library. Don't just save everything. Only promote scopes that are genuinely reusable. This will help you avoid clutter. And second, maintain it. Treat your library like a living resource and schedule some regular reviews to make sure it always reflects your latest standards and projects.
So there you have it, the Promote Scope as Library add-on. It's a simple, really powerful, and totally free tool to make your quoting process faster and way more consistent. And it really just leaves us with one question to think about. When you get back to your work, what's that one complex, perfectly crafted scope you've built recently that's going to be the very first one you promote?